This is how I dealt with an unstable home life, which led to homelessness, addiction, and mental health struggles, all while discovering my sexuality as a gay man. Some qualities that I possess that make me me is I love music. I play a couple instruments. I'm really interested in psychology. I've had anxiety for most of my life, starting at 6 years old. Depression, I have PTSD, personality disorder issues, and I would say I'm a genuinely nice person. My high school journey obviously started right in the beginning of freshman year. I had a lot of trouble with anxiety and depression and some other mental health challenges, and I ended up getting into a mental hospital for most of my freshman year, which kind of really set my grades, and that made it a bit challenging, but I got enough support and we kind of were able to get into an alternative education program kind of right away. Sophomore year and junior year, I still struggled pretty heavily with a lot of mental health challenges, being institutionalized, a little bit of an addiction stuff that I was still struggling with. But I had a really great teacher who really helped me out. I sought out to him for most of my stuff, and he helped me out a lot. One of the things that I've noticed with just mental health challenges as a whole, and especially in a family dynamic where more than one person struggles with mental health, we all ended up sort of getting and feeding off of each other and getting each other's symptoms and stuff. And now actually all of us are, including my dog, are on anti-anxiety medication. My senior year, things started to get better. My grades were getting better. But then I got kicked out when I turned 18, only 2 months into my senior year of high school. So I got kicked out for the way I expressed myself, for who I loved, and being gay and all that, and just my self-expression as a whole. I'm really much into the punk and metal scene, and my parents didn't agree with that, so they ended up kicking me out, giving me this ultimatum: be who they want me to be, conform to Christianity, stop doing the punk stuff, pretend to like girls, I guess. I don't know. And obviously that was not the route that I was gonna take, and I made the decision to leave, but it really wasn't a decision. More of a really strict ultimatum. That was rough. Having to, I didn't have a job either, so I was, trying to get as much food as I could and stuff. We were lucky. I'm lucky to live in the city, that it made things a lot easier to access stuff. But I did some behaviors that I'm not really proud of during those times, but it was all on pure survival. Mental illnesses can be really tough and show them it can show itself in really harmful ways, in ways that the person who has the illness doesn't even realize. And I am really glad though that I did have that one person, which was my teacher, who really helped me out. They allowed me to shower at my school eventually. After about 2 weeks of living in my car, I ended up getting a family that I stayed with for the rest of my high school experience. We made do, and because I reached out and I talked and I found the people. All you gotta do is talk. You just gotta open up. Having to start over and find new friends and everything, that was a really big change because I moved about 2 hours away from my hometown. And the dynamic there was so much different, but I was able to adapt, and I created a bunch of friends, and actually I was liked by, I could say, a decent amount of people. We had a fairly large friend group.
I know having peer support is just so important for these young people, because at a certain point, your influence as a parent begins to wane, and they really, look to each other for peer support.
And I was able to graduate on time, which was something I didn't think I'd be able to accomplish, and my whole family didn't think I'd be able to accomplish it either. So I'm really, that was really cool, and I ended up going to college and everything. I'd say some of the things that give me strength would be the support, my friends, my grandparents, the people around me, building up, and always just knowing that I have them, that I have them, and they're not going anywhere. Same with my housing that I'm now in. I now know that this is something that I have now and that I won't need like to worry about getting like kicked out or moving to the next place for a little while now. My whole life was just, everything was happening at all different times, and I just kind of had to deal with it. There was no structure, no plan, no nothing ever. So now that there's a little bit more, I think that has really helped.
You know, he found supportive adults and supportive friends who got him through some really dark times.
I did not realize how much I was going through when I was going through it. I didn't realize I didn't have like all of the support or anything. Like there is so much more out there, and I didn't realize until I was able to be free and everything. So that really, really helped.
You mean, think about our mental health system of care. We have most of our services and supports for childhood to 18, and then after age 18, if you can feel like falling off a cliff, services and supports dry up. So our community came together many years ago to address that gap and develop the Ascent program. So it provides that support for those 18 to 25-year-olds, who need extra help on their journey to become adults.
Ascend is a program through Pillars, and it's a semi-independent living program for young adults who struggle with their mental health.
They need help learning skills, basic skills around, how to get a job, how to cook, how to go out and grocery shop and budget. And, it can be that safe space where they can practice being an adult, but they have the support of a case manager and a therapist and a community to create a community of peer support.
We serve young adults ages 18 to 25 who are struggling with their mental health and need to be guided on how to live independently because they haven't had that experience yet.
Ascend Pillars program is offered reduced housing prices, which is one of the biggest sellers for most of the people, I would say.
So anybody who stays with our program gets offered case management. We have a independent living skills. We provide a family dinner. There's an on-site counselor that people can utilize, and then there's also a peer support coach.
And now the three of them are roommates, and I'm just so excited to see these three young men live together, be roommates, practice adulting, and to support one another on their mental health recovery journeys.
Now that I have secure housing and all my the friends support, knowing that it's stabilized really helps, because I was so used to surviving and worrying about just the basic needs, that now that a lot of this is pretty much stabilized, I'm able to focus on myself more.
To have these young adults figuring out and learning how to be positive friends and holding space for one another and learning to be good listeners, and sometimes realizing that you don't have to solve your friends' problems, just being there and being supportive and being a good listener, goes a long, long way.
I don't like it's gonna get better. Like honestly, that's not something I ever liked, because to me that's bullshit. Like in that moment in time, I'm like, I don't care about eventually. Like I don't know how long that's gonna be. And honestly, I don't know, how much I got left. I don't know. So that doesn't mean anything to me.
If you're worried about your child, no matter what age, if they're showing signs and symptoms of a mental health challenge, acknowledge it and ask for help. And that can start with going to a pediatrician or your family physician. And they can do, a mental health screening, and that can be a starting point where you could get referred to counseling. You could get referred to other supportive services. Maybe they need a psychological evaluation.
I know it gets hard with depression. I know it gets hard, you get stuck. And but don't let that weigh on you either, because you'll get to it eventually. You will be able to do this. There will be a time in your life where you can play that instrument, you can build that car, you can do that stuff. It just might take some time.